What's up, YouTube?
How's it
Jeff,
going, Brent?
Jeff,
Brent,
we're doing something we've never done before.
this is for like we're live.
This is a true live stream. Like we've had a couple other videos we've done that were actually pre-recorded that we pushed out as a live stream just because YouTube does different stuff with live stream stuff. But this is our first ever live stream. What's up, everybody? Like we're talking right now to you. We see all of you guys over there in the chat.
I see David, Mega, Missy, David.
Yeah,
I
Saber
can't say your name.
Strike. Nia, our friend Nia's here. Xavier, Tim. Gosh, there's so many people. We're not going to name them all.
That's
Daniel. Somebody's named Rodent. I like that one.
Coffee Cat.
Yeah,
Hi,
AC
Cat.
Con. You guys are awesome. Yeah. So what's up, everybody? Welcome to this. So what are we here for? Jeff, why are we here? What are we doing? Why do we do this?
This is the post-incident press conference. I feel like I should have multiple microphones up here, right?
Right.
Hello. I'll take questions specifically from the reporters in the middle. This time is how we're going to do this. But I think we've got we had a video come out today.
Yes.
That if I can be a little judicious with my language, either was one of the most greatest videos some people ever watched ever and they enjoyed, or went over like a wet fart in church. And a couple spots in between.
It did. Yeah, it did. And so it was a joke. That's the thing. It was all a joke. There was no harm meant in it, no disrespect. It was just fun. But Jeff and I talked this afternoon. We thought it'd be good to, just kind of come out here and talk about the video a little bit. Because it certainly was a joke, but also we wanted to talk to you guys. So you guys over in the stream, we can see you guys. If you guys have questions, we'll take your questions. You can drop it over in the chat. We will do our best to see those and respond to those questions as we go through. If you want to ask us anything about the video, if you want to ask us anything about just the rest of the show, life in general, whatever you want. But we will certainly be doing that. But we're here to take those questions. We're going to read some of our favorite comments from today, Jeff, because the comments have been a blast.
So great.
And
can I kind of start with that? First off, there's some great questions already popping in the chat. Hold on to some of those because I don't want to lose them. We want to have time to do it. But like, I loved these comments and we deserved every single one.
Everyone.
And I've enjoyed all of them. I'll tell you, there are a handful. There's one tweet that came out that I responded to, and if you don't make it personal, right? Like we're literally making this. Like I'm gonna give part of our ending away here, but we're doing this because we deeply love this show and we deeply love this community and all of you in it. This was so like don't at. I mean, you can at us, but don't make it personal, right? We don't need that happening. So
yeah, and I mean, and honestly, that was sort of the precipice for how this got going in the first place.
Yeah,
was because you guys have all seen it. If you guys have been around the show for any more than a week, there's been some people in the comments, particularly that just troll. I mentioned it in the video. Like this is legit. Apparently, somebody made an actual conspiracy video featuring Jeff and I as people who have been paid to tank the reboot by crapping all over Babylon 5.
Which thank you. As in one, dude, we got some serious sway.
Dude,
if that's happening.
Yeah, I didn't know I had that much power. Like,
and two, like, I mean, I'm not going to say that I did that. I'm also not going to say that there's not a price. CW, Paramount, if you're out there, just,
Yeah. CW, Paramount, guys, we want Babylon 5 on CW in 2023.
Yeah, very much.
Right? Like that is the thing. We are declaring that. But and here's the thing. We're not here to police anybody. People are welcome to say things that they want to say. When it turns into harassment, though, when it turns into name calling, when it turns personal, as you just said a second ago, Jeff, we have to draw a line.
And frankly, I mean, it's not okay to be personal and make attacks towards Brent or myself. Like, we're going to stand up for each other. We're going to stand up for ourselves. But some people were actually insulting people who are here watching right now.
Yeah.
And it was not okay. And we found ourselves in that position that we didn't want to be in. Of like, when we had a real conversation, like, do we we
Yeah.
block these people? Like, is this? And it's like, yeah, this is where we go.
Yeah.
It's time.
And out of that, there's a lot of things that people say, like they say, we just don't pay attention to the show. We talk over the show all the time. And particularly this is me because I'm the one that does the reaction videos that go public. Um, you don't catch the little details. You don't understand nuance. You don't understand how a show evolves and it does world building. And so kind of we just made a video that would show like what it would look like if that's actually what we were doing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeff,
This is what it looks like.
right.
Can I tell you a cool thing though?
Yeah.
Like, and we'll get into some of these things here, but like, I really enjoyed some of the comments that were like, this is the moment that I knew this wasn't right because Brent never does this or Jeff never says this. And it's like, yeah, like I'm never.
Yeah. As soon as Jeff started talking about his teeth.
Well, it was
something
that or
will
Zach.
stop.
I'm never going to talk trash about
Zach. Oh yeah. Oh, because Kanicki's amazing, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is a spoiler safe zone up to this episode, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we clearly watched it. So, dude joined Night Watch for 50 credits a week.
What is it? I like this comment. I have to put it up here from Tim. Tim says, "Cue Natoth running into the studio with a wrench." I love it.
I'm a little worried, actually. Like, my wife's in the other room. I'm not going to say it won't happen.
Yeah. So anyway, also just to be clear, the real reaction video that I recorded actually. Was it been a week? Was it a week? Yeah, we had to do some stuff because of travel schedules, but it might have been about a week ago. It's not too far back. I actually recorded that video then, and that video will be coming out very soon.
And I did a real reaction video on Monday on the side of the road in a little town called Kennewick, Washington that I had to drive up to. But that's going to go on the Patreon, and it's going to be one of the most awkward reaction videos you've ever seen. But it's for real. And it's out there.
Yeah, it definitely is. Jeff, I want to talk about the video for a moment. You guys keep asking questions. We're going to get to we'll take all the questions at one time. So you guys keep throwing questions down. But Mr. Nice Bobby says this, speaking of patron, I chose the best day to become a patron. Because if you were on Patreon, if you're one of our patrons, you saw all of this coming. Yeah. And we've had this conversation before it went public. So
and the whole unedited version of it as well. Brent, you did an incredible job editing what went up on YouTube.
Thank you.
It was great, and I know you put a lot of work into it. But there's a whole unedited one on our Patreon, and like there's some great stuff. There's also a lot of like whatever.
So usually with the reaction videos, like what you guys get on YouTube out there is pretty much the stuff that I reacted to. Like everything else is mostly dead space, or it's just cleaned up a bit. Like it's one's fairly representative of the other, but this one, like this video was 30 minutes long. There was still another like 40 minutes of video that had good stuff in it too. Jeff, I'll tell you, this was absolutely the hardest and longest video I've ever had to edit for the show. Like
I have that effect on videos. It's a thing that happens.
Well, we talked about like, hey, listen, we're gonna try. We just want to make this really quick. We're not trying to bunch of extra work. From editing the video, just shooting the video with you, to processing the video. I had to export the video like 4 times. And any of you out there who do any kind of video work, you know that can just be a nightmare. And then tried to clean some stuff. It was ridiculous. Trying to upload it and wait on the computer to upload. It was ridiculous. But hopefully it was worth it. Jeff, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
So I don't exactly remember the order of events of how all this went down, but you weren't always in on this video. Like no. I think I floated the idea to you at one point, and then like I texted you and said, "Hey, do you want to be a part of it?" Take me through your side of doing this video.
Well, I think we covered some really important context in this, where we went through the experience of like we blocked a handful of people. We talked about kind of the rules of engagement that we want to like set for this community, just, you know, making things respectful. So we were kind of living in this space where stuff wasn't super awesome. And I think that I'm not going to lie. Like there are times our YouTube episodes often are long. I own that. And I appreciate all of you that stick around and watch our whole thing. But there's also times where we say things that people just completely miss. Case in point, hey, this is a clip show that's not a clip show.
Right.
People just stopped listening. And at some point, that gets pretty frustrating. It's like, come on, please just listen to the words we're saying. So, Brent, you hit me up with like, you know what? What if we did this reaction video, but like we totally faked the whole thing? Like it was a complete, thing. First thing, I was just like, dude, I don't know. I don't like, and he's like, no, I'll do it. Like I'll do it and I'll do it and I'll kind of cut it down short and then I'll follow it up with my regular reaction. I was like a little worried. I'm like, I don't know. So insight into Jeff, I work in politics, not really the politics, but like the actual policy side of politics. So I'm like, I can see well, yeah, you know what? Let's do it. This is it. And then we talked about a little bit how it was going to look. And this is what blew up in my head and really made me think about things in a different light. And that is that I believe that when you truly love a thing, you can laugh at that thing.
Right.
Like you can find that joy in it, and laugh at it. So then you hit me up literally, like, what was it? 15 minutes before you went on and you're like, I'm going to do it. You want in on this? And I'm just like,
oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. It was that quick. Yeah. I forgot about that. Cause I was just going to do it myself.
Yeah. I literally got home. I put my bag in. My daughter was in bed. I go to see my wife and Brent's like, dude, you want to get it? I'm like, yeah, I think I do. I do.
What did your wife, cause this was Valentine. We literally recorded this yesterday. We recorded on Valentine's Day. So yay for romance, in our lives. What did your wife say?
my wife and I have a fantastic and understanding relationship, and Valentine's Day is an important day to her. It is not an important day to me. In fact, I'm in the state of Oregon. Oregon became a state February 14th, 1859. So I celebrate Oregon's birthday on Valentine's Day. We have that understanding. So we took care of our Valentine's things earlier in the day while I was on the road. We had conversations. We're good. And so she was like, fine. Venar, you don't know, like, amen to that. Our wives, if anyone's like, hey, who's the hero? Who are the heroes of Babylon 5 for the first time? It's our wives.
Yeah.
Without question.
Yeah. If without their okay and participation is probably not the right word, but there is definitely some behind the scenes involvement. Like without that, without the support, wouldn't be able to do the show
and the understanding. They allow us a lot of time for this, but I was in, and I mean, it was very little prep. Like, we're going to do this. We'd been kind of talking about what it was going to be. And then we talked through the approach of how we were going to put the thing together, and boom.
Yeah.
Here we are.
So, Jeff, was there anything you wish we would have done differently?
Yes,
you saw the video, and then you know what we did. What do you think?
I got to put this up here.
Oh.
Do you think we could get them to do that?
Ooh, my wife is not me. I married my polar opposite, and I love her. We work so well together. We are yin and yang. I do not know that she could. I don't know what she would sit in this chair and just be like, but all the amazing stuff is happening in her head. Like she is 20 times as snarky as I am. Like, and she will pull the best, like, I could only imagine the stuff she would have come out with if she actually dived into doing the same video. It would be amazing.
That'd be good. Yeah. No, my wife would be all about it. She's all about this stuff. Yeah. She makes videos. She travels the world speaking. She's a powerhouse, big time. Not that your wife's not a powerhouse, but mine is very out there in the world powerhouse.
Sure.
Snatcher 42. No, in fact, my wife has watched a few episodes with me, and she and my daughter both make fun of me for watching the show. So it's a very loving thing. But you asked Brent if I would have done anything differently.
Yeah.
In this. And I think there's one thing that I would have done differently. And that was, I would have asked you to have done differently. And that is, in the edit, have actually put a thing up on the screen, or had you set a thing saying, hey, welcome, this is a special thing. Listen, stick around to the end.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Just a little bit of a hint that there's more to this than being a legit reaction video.
Yeah. I would have, I thought that when I was editing, that I wish in the opening piece before we started the video, we would have said, hey, make sure you stick around to the end for something really special. We're gonna, like, I wish we would have said that because we didn't. But there were lots of people that were saying, stick around to the end, stick around to the end, stick around to the end.
Yeah, in fact, Mara, I don't know if you're in here, but there was someone, Mara was going through so many of the comments, just popping and being like,
saying,
stick
go
around,
back. Yeah,
go
stick
back
around.
and
Yeah,
watch,
yeah.
go back
Yeah.
and watch. And I think a few other people were doing as well. So if I didn't name you for doing it,
Yeah.
thank you for doing that.
Yeah, Diana says here, you could tell by the comments who actually watched to the end of the video and who didn't. Yeah. And there were some people who did watch all the way to the end and they still didn't appreciate it. And I'm sorry if you didn't appreciate it. I'm not sorry that we did it. I'm not apologizing for the video. I'm just sorry that you didn't appreciate it because it was hilarious, Jeff. It was so funny.
It was. And Mega, I agree with you, Mega, that it does kind of ruin the surprise. But I think for some people, it might have softened the blow maybe a little bit. Or just been a little subtle about it. But I mean, really, honestly, in the whole thing, like, we talked about like the last thing we wanted to say in this conversation, but I really want to say that like this is an expression of our love that we can like dive into a thing, and kind of pick at it and make fun in a fun way.
But
what we see as a fun way.
But I mean, there's like sci-fi in general. When you look at some of the best episodes, is when they don't take themselves too seriously and they poke fun like because you truly love something, you can do it. Lower Decks on Star Trek, that entire show could only be done by somebody who absolutely loves Star Trek. And it's not just in Star Trek. This is across everything. Stargate, specifically its 100th episode and 200th episode are complete farces and make fun of the show itself. Wormhole Extreme, I'm looking at you. You guys know that. There are times Richard Dean Anderson's in the show, and there are times they make MacGyver jokes. All through the show. Not Babylon 5. You were telling me Buffy has episodes where they just sort of make fun of themselves.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, they're musical, right? Once more with feeling kind of, I mean, It's got a story and it moves stuff through, but also it's having some fun at the expense of the characters. Well, that's kind of the 6th season as a whole. That's a whole other Galaxy Quest. The Galaxy Quest. In fact, there was a comment where someone actually, I'm going to read this one. Oh gosh, it was pretty funny. Now it's all awkward like it. So Paul Hassett said, "This was your guys' Galaxy Quest, poking fun at the fandom for taking themselves too seriously. It was awesome, but no sequels, please." As Cisco once said to Bashir, "Don't apologize. It was the highlight of my day, but please don't do it again."
Don't do it again. Right. Right. Okay, Jeff, let's get to some questions from the live stream.
Yeah.
We're talking about that. First question I saw in here is how much fun, well, forever, how much fun did y'all have filming that? Jeff, how much fun did you have just filming it?
So a blast.
Yeah.
But can I tell you something else?
What's that?
It was hard. It was hard to be negative about this episode.
Yes, it was. It was, I mean, trying to find stuff to talk about in a negative way. What do you call it? When Sheridan got into the Anna thing, when I latched onto the Anna, I was like, oh yeah, we hated that whole Anna thing. Like that was the only thread I could hang on to. Yeah. And I was like, I'm going to hang on to this one and ride it because it was the only thing I could hang on to. But this actually dovetails in really nicely to the next question. How much of the banter was scripted versus how much was planned?
None at all.
This was our conversation was, okay, we'll lead into the show. Let's start a little serious with it, like doing a legit reaction, but let's also try to like give hints along the way that this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so you started talking about teeth. Right. We at one point we were talking about the Wesley Crusher Hair Quaff Award.
But can I be serious here? Like his teeth for 1995?
Oh, sure.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
Right. And then the other thing we had was the very end. We had you hitting the music cue and then us revealing the secret and then going, oh shoot, I forgot to hit stop. Like that was planned. But outside of that, everything else was a riff on. So Mike asks us this question: how many weeks ahead are you filming currently? People want to know, Jeff.
I know.
People speculate out there how far ahead we are.
So I'm gonna need
filming.
I'm gonna need both my hands to answer this question. One, We're currently 1 week ahead, and that we have In the Shadow of Zahadum filmed. We have. Have you watched Knives? Yeah, I haven't even watched it yet.
Not yet. No, I've been busy doing this video.
You haven't had time.
I've still got to get out the reaction video. I haven't edited the reaction video. My reaction, the real reaction video, folks, the real one. I filmed it days ago, but I haven't edited it yet, so I still got to do that. But yeah, we're what is the, Jeff, do you recall, what is the furthest ahead we've been at any given point so far? Has it been more than 3 weeks?
Yeah, so I think 3 weeks. And that was like when we first, so this is I don't know if we shared this or not, but we actually recorded the first 3 episodes in like 2 sit downs. And then we shared those with some of our close friends in the podcasting world, got feedback. One of the big pieces of feedback led to the rule of 3. They're just like, dudes, you need to stop talking about Star Trek. Oh my, we didn't know anything, about Babylon 5 yet. We re-recorded Midnight
the first
on the
2 episodes.
Yeah.
And then we left The Gathering. The Gathering was the original. Like that one came out how it came out. Yeah.
And so I think that we had at that point, we had Midnight on the Firing Line, Soul Hunter, and was that what's the third one? Was that Born?
Infection, wasn't it?
Was it?
I don't know.
But
Parliament of Dreams?
Maybe. We were ahead that far. I think it's the furthest we've been ahead.
Yeah, but that caught up pretty quick to us. And then like I know like over the holidays we did a couple where we were like 1 or 2 weeks ahead.
Yeah.
But then we'd have to jump back into it. Like did we record on Christmas Day? Christmas Eve.
Was it Eve or Day? I forget.
No, I think it was Day. I think it was like after all the stuff was done, I think we recorded later in the day. So great family, man. Anyway, that's where we are in the filming. Lizard King says to make this video the one that JMS sees of the channel. We could do this as the pinned video. Like instead of the promo, we could do this as the pinned video.
I'm all in. It's just right. That's all the chips.
Right. Smurfy said that responding to Mike's question about how far a week, she said 11. No.
That'd be nice. I'm not gonna lie, it's hard sometimes to not just go.
Yeah. Our Frame Games, this is our friend Nia. Nia talks about the Patreon has the full 72-minute video of the one that we put out on YouTube. Was it was long? Yeah, it was long. It was long. By the way, Nia is our Discord server master. I don't know if that's a title. I don't know if that's actually a thing or not, but she put together our Discord and is managing that for us. And Nia, thank you so much. You're awesome. And thank you for all the work you do. Question here, Jeff, how many subscribers did we lose today?
You got some stats?
I do have I've got numbers. You guys want numbers? I got numbers. This is, by the way, this is the most watched video, the fastest watched video we've ever had on the channel. In less than 10 hours, this episode clocked over 1,600 views. A lot of our videos are capping out these days around 16, 17, 1,800 views. This one hit it in 10 hours. 10 hours. 380 comments. Jeff, we have always had a really high view to comment ratio.
That's the incredible community here.
Yeah. And 380 is way more than normal. Understandably, people were making their comments felt in this. We did lose some subscribers. We lost about 20. There seems to be some shenanigans with the math going on with YouTube right now, but looks like we lost 20, but we've regained like 6.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how much of that was like new people or people who like, we do know people have said things like, I've unsubscribed and then I resubscribed like once they got to it. So there was a few of that, but here's the cool thing about all of that. Here's the other one. We had a 58% like ratio on like the thumbs up to thumbs down. Here's what's crazy about that. If you go back and look at our like ratio, Jeff, and I don't know if people out there can see it, but on ours, we can see it. We have like a 98, 97% average of people giving us thumbs up on our videos. This one hit 58. There's a lot of people that clicked the button on this one.
And that number, by the way, is dropping. At one point I screenshotted to Brent and I was like, we're at like 67.
Yeah. But here's the really cool one. And I love this. Over on our Patreon page though, Jeff, we've gained like 11 new patrons today.
Yeah. And Nia over here in the chat said, where is it? 2? We got 2 people joined the Discord today and no one left the Discord. We had no one cancel their Patreonage. Yeah.
We had people jump into Patreon. And by the way, patrons where the party's at, man. That is definitely the chat. Let's keep going. This person says, "Darn you, Chuckle Nuggets." I love it.
Absolutely.
They love your shelves back there, Jeff.
Oh, thank you.
Apparently nobody loves mine. Mine are a mess, but they
So
love your
I have
shelves.
these shelves here for the sole purpose of online meetings, so I look smart.
Oh, there you go.
When you have books, you look
The
smart.
the nerd Star Trek stuff behind you doesn't make you look smart. It's the books that do.
That's my Star Trek podcast back there.
I do.
Yes. I so leaned into this working from home thing that I hired someone to paint my logo on my wall.
That is painted on your wall. That's not something you. That's amazing. Apparently, people are threatening us to get revenge on us by giving us spoilers to the show, which is fun. All right, Martin wants to know: was that video real? No, the video was not real. It was 100% fake.
I remember before we hit go, you're like, so I think Brent's talked about this before. Some of you might know, but Brent has a long history in stand-up comedy, a very successful history as a stand-up comedian, actually. I have a long history in professional wrestling. Mm-hmm. And I was under the impression both of those things required improv as a thing to do. Yeah, yours didn't. You shared, you're like, I don't do improv. And I'm like, oh, I've improv'd on international live television before. Yeah. Not that I'm good, but I've done it.
Improv. It's not my strong suit. Because with stand-up comedy is scripted.
Very
100%. It's like every move, every head turn, every grab, like it's so scripted. Even when you're doing crowd work, when I'm handling hecklers, like all of that is scripted. Anyway, yeah, you're absolutely right. What are some other questions? Are we Illuminati, Jeff?
Yes.
There you go. Let's see here. Are there any other questions? You guys, hey, listen, seriously, if you have questions, drop them in the comments. Jeff, let me ask you a question. I'll keep looking for comments in the thing. Would you share with us one of the things? We just had fun. We had a whole lot of fun with today's episodes, and we had some favorite comments. Like there's guys, I told you there's 380 plus, and that number is still growing. We had a ton of fun of comments. Jeff, what were some of the comments you loved?
Well, I counted 6 people who made comments that literally said, I unsubscribed and then I resubscribed, which might be why our numbers are so weird on trying to track the impact. But one person, Mike McIntosh, it's just like, we even took a screenshot of, I don't know if you have this one loaded in, but it's just like, tell a story in 2 sentences kind of a thing. It's so great.
This one right here. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he says, Mike down here at the bottom says, I just unsubscribed. And then up at the top, he's like, okay, resubscribed. Dirty pool. He called it.
That's so great. Let's see. We got Totoro who says, really, man, you 2 got me in the first half. Can't lie. Not going to lie.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, listen to you guys that are watching live. Here's what I want to know. You guys watch the video. I'm going to assume everybody has seen the video by now. Please let us know at what point you first suspected something was happening. And then let us know at what point you pretty much knew that it was happening. And then what was your reaction when you saw us at the very end say, yep, this was all fake. I want to know from you guys out there what that was like.
One I want to share, because I think this person has like a businessy or a whatever sort of a YouTube
I'm
thing.
sorry, here, Jeff.
Oh,
Andrew says that this was a Mirror Universe reaction video, and he buzzed himself. I love it when people buzz themselves.
That's so cool. I love that. Chris Siddall Music, Siddall. Possibly the most infuriating reaction video I've ever watched. Bravo.
Yeah.
Adam
Mega says this. He says, I started to realize something was up just because it was so damn funny, which I got to ask, Jeff, are we not funny?
No.
I feel like that's a backhanded compliment right there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're not.
That's probably true. Yeah, there's a reason I'm not a comedian anymore. And it's my 2 children downstairs, and I refuse to tour with the kids home. What else you got, Jeff? What are some?
Let's see here. Oh, this is fun, and it has this has what might be offensive language, not ugly language, but just whatever. Stuart Riddle. I don't know, Stuart, if you're in here, give us a something. When I was watching this, I was annoyed, not because they were critical. I love their hated episode, The Long Dark. There's always somebody, but because they weren't actually watching it. And then I realized they'd actually watched it several times before this reaction. You guys are wankers, and I fell for your wankery. Well played. Also, on second viewing, this reaction is hilarious.
That's what I hope. I really hope people go back and once they know what's going on, that they track with us and see like every Jeff, how many times did you break character, or were you close to breaking character?
Oh,
like there were so many times I was like,
many. Well, it was either funny or like there were. I mean, I think that was the fourth time I'd watched that episode, and there were still moments I found myself getting into it. You know, well, in fact, even like when they started doing the reveal about the ancient ones and the first ones and stuff, like I'm literally just like, what in the world can I say?
Oh, to this moment where they're telling us everything.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, this is amazing.
Right.
How do I? So that's why I'm just like, oh, cliche. My book of cliches.
Book of cliches. Let's hear. The Knave 69 says, caught on to the gag when Brent said Ivanova was boring. I'm never going to say Ivanova's boring. Ivanova is awesome. Ivanova is God. Just kidding. Like, she's amazing. Boom.
There was one that got cut out of the YouTube one, but it's on the Patreon one, where Ivanova's telling Franklin to go get some sleep. And I'm like, this part was in the YouTube one where I'm like, I want Ivanova to be my boss. And you were like, it's Valentine's Day. I'm not going to talk about another woman.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm talking about like, I want her to be my supervisor. I want someone to tell
You're
me
legitimately saying boss. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You always listen to Ivanova.
Yeah. This person here, Amon Chooses, says this was about trolling your viewers. I want to say, no, it was not. This was about trolling the trolls. We were trolling the trolls and hoping you guys out there would join in with us laughing at the trolls. That's what this was about. And to be fair, Nia says some Trek fans don't enjoy Lower Decks, and that's okay. That is true. Totally you have to be able to love something enough to really be able to make fun of it, because otherwise you wouldn't know it well enough to be able to make fun of it. And it's still okay if people don't like it. Like, it's really okay if people didn't like this video.
Or to be critical of a thing. Here's what I'm going to pull up.
Go ahead.
So this is my pro wrestling secret. So how did I keep a straight face through saying this was the one that'll cancel the reboot? So I played a bad guy for a long time on the indie circuit in pro wrestling. I was a manager. So if that's like Bobby the Brain Heenan, Jimmy Hart, Paul Heyman, I think is the most popular one now. But like, you get in this mindset and like it turns into almost this snowball, this avalanche that builds where the next thing you know, like, you're threatening Vietnam veterans for wasting, taxpayer dollars, and you're doing that to their face in the ring. And then you're like, oh my gosh, why did I just say that? So that's how I was able to do it with straight face. I was so in the snowball at that point.
Missy asks a good question here, Jeff. How many times did we think we became almost too positive about the episode? I don't think there were any, because like especially earlier in the episode, we were trying to like sort of make it seem like it was real. Like there had to be enough to make it seem like it was real, but then it needed to build to just all out ridiculousness. Yeah.
I'm trying to, because we did say some positive things, actually.
Sure.
But I don't remember them.
Andrew, by the hammer of Chuckle Nugget, you shall be avenged. Oh, you guys are great. Hey, you guys are we should do live streams more often, Jeff, because these folks are absolutely amazing. David says Morden's teeth were amazing.
Seriously, and his hair?
Oh my gosh, dude, that coif. Really, I think we need to give the Wesley Crusher hair award and start giving it to have you seen the new season of Picard goes out.
I haven't seen any
trailers. I didn't get a screener. I'm not that cool. Nobody paid me enough money, I guess, to bring down another show, so I don't get the screeners. But in his like these promo things, like Frakes looks good, man. Like I've seen pictures of Frakes like just directing, and he looks like a dude.
Yeah,
but he looks good, and he's got the hair thing going on too. It's not quite as coiffed as Morden's was, but I mean it's pretty nice.
Well, they've mastered the art through Anson Mount.
Oh my gosh,
how to make hair look really good like that.
Yeah, he's gonna win it for sure. But
Oh wow.
What's that?
The Randy Savages rodent is sharing in here, and I am all about that. That's a band. Oh, yeah.
This Adam asks us, will we ever release the deleted videos to the patrons? I'm not sure what deleted videos you're talking about. The patrons get the full unedited version.
So these are our first episodes that we did.
Oh, those ones.
I'm gonna go and see. I think I still. I don't
do we
think
even
I
still
the
have
video.
them? I don't know that I even have those. Well, I'm sure we do. You and I are. We file everything. Megan's off to finish editing his video. Thanks, Mega.
Best of luck.
You're awesome.
I think that I have the audio.
Yeah.
I'm looking
because we only did audio. I don't think we did video back then.
We did the video, but I don't think I pulled it because that's why our video for the gathering is just the still thing with the whatever on it. But
okay, I don't see any more questions so far as I'm going through here. So again, if you guys have questions, you guys want to drop something in to the chat, please do.
Yeah, there's a reason why Morden's hair is so perfect. He is a shadow, a time traveling
He's the same dude from Enterprise, right? Hey, listen, folks, there's a lot. If I missed your question, if you asked a question, we didn't answer it, please drop it again in the chat and we'll try to do that. Jeff, I had some comments I wanted to talk about that I thought were just absolutely hilarious. Let's hear. We did. Oh, speaking of Mega, he just got out of here. But he had this to say. He said, "Man, I love the slow burn of Babylon 5. But I also love how much you two bust B5's balls." Jeff, it just goes to say you got to love it in order to do stuff like that, you know? Because then it's just bullying. Because if you do it without love, then it's just bullying, right? Yeah. And we're not trying to be like that. No. By the way, can I just say this? Like for Mega and Medusa Cascade is another reactor, has liked a few of our videos and we've had a few interactions with, and our friends over at the Gray 17, I think they're starting to do some reaction videos and stuff. Like I love the fact that people aren't like the reactors aren't fighting, like we're all just kind of in it together. And I really hope if you're a reactor, I hope you got a double dose of laughter out of watching this episode, because I know everybody's wanted to do something like this given the comments down in the reactions. People have said in the comments it's a risky thing to do something like what we did. We knew that we were going to lose subscribers over it. Right, Jeff?
Yep. Yeah.
We knew it was calculated.
A calculated risk.
Yeah. And the number we lost was less than 1%. And I'm not saying that we won't miss them, but
this is what I say. Like they're, I mean, some are going to be gone forever, and that's too bad. I mean, I'm not happy about that by any means, but also it's up to us to earn them back. Hey, we just had a couple questions come in. I'm gonna pop one up here. I'm curious what your answer to this is, Brent.
Okay.
Has B5 lived up to your expectations overall?
My initial expectations going into it is exactly where we thought it would be. Because what did we say, Jeff? The first couple seasons of any 90s sci-fi show is real rough. Mm-hmm. So the fact that season 2 has been rough is not shocking to me. It's not surprising to me. I may ham some stuff up just because people keep talking about how awesome it is from season 2 forward. And it's not been. Like our reactions to the videos, to the episodes so far, both the good and the not so good, are our actual responses. Right. And it is our job to watch the episode, be critical, but also be honest with you guys about how we're feeling about these shows. And not just come in here and blow smoke. Also, we have to record these one episode at a time, so we don't have the luxury of getting the whole swath. Yeah. And one of my favorite responses, like, you guys just don't understand world building. You don't understand subtlety. You should wait till you see the whole show before saying something. I'm like, that literally would mean every episode we're just going, yep, that happened there, but I can't comment on it till we get to the end of the show. Like, that'd be really boring.
Yeah.
Another comment we had here. I loved this one. It said, this review should be called Babylon and on and on. Talk about endless drivel commentary. I loved it. One of the things I like, we had people making us pictures.
Yes.
People have often talked about you and me as what are their names? Waldorf and Statler and Waldorf from the Muppets. Somebody actually took this screenshot right here, Jeff, and Put this up for us. Although I do have to say, I think switching the names would have been better.
Yeah, that was some feedback that we got.
Yeah, except Jeff is on the left and I'm always on the right. Like that's just the way our show works. But I think truly if we switched them, it would have looked more like us. But hey, listen, it was hilarious. And just to show how much we didn't mind that, it's now at the header of our YouTube video or YouTube page, right? And then this one, Jeff, one more I want to show you guys because I just thought this was hilarious. So you guys need to look at this one. Like seriously, look at this one. This person gives you this is the run of how people felt about watching this show all the way through in emojis. The whole comments in emojis. So start with the first one and walk your way through. It starts with uh-oh. Sigh. Oh no. What? Mad. I can't believe you're saying this. Red hot mad. Steam coming out of my nose. More red hot mad. Curse words. Wait. ... What? Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's really funny. Oh, that's super funny. I love that. I appreciate that one. An entire comment in emojis.
Rodin's hitting us with some really good other questions. Like this is the Cynthia Torkman questions of this broadcast here.
At what point did you really embrace this is not Star Trek? Jeff, you want to take that one? Because I know my answer, but I'll let you take it.
Well, I think this has been a pretty long process for us, and we came to part of it. I'd say our first plateau, our first like level mark in that process was in our season 1 wrap up. That led to us adding Star Furies as a way that we were rating things. Gosh, I don't know if I have an exact moment though that I can say this is where I know this is just Babylon 5. I feel like I've thought that.
My answer, and this may not surprise you, and this may feel like cheating, from the very beginning.
Yeah.
I've never thought that this was Star Trek. Like ever. We like literally, Jeff, it's in the name. This is not a Star Trek podcast. Like it's literally it's kind of like the clip show without being a clip show. Like we say this is not a Star Trek podcast. And the whole thing about the Star Trek comparisons, okay, which again we say, and we had to clarify this real early on. This is not a comparison to Star Trek.
Correct.
We're digging out Star Trek like messages. That is a big difference. We're not sitting there go, oh, well, Star Trek did this one better, and this episode just wasn't as good as a Star Trek episode could be. That's never ever what we are meaning, intending, or actually doing. And in fact, if we found ourselves doing that, Jeff, we would cut it out.
Yeah.
And redo it.
And I know for me, like I did have this compared to Star Trek because I saw this when it first aired, and that was my reaction to it was, oh, it looks like a cheap knockoff of Star Trek. And that bias like carried through with me for quite a long time.
Sure. Tori like says, hasn't it always been looking for Star Trek like messages? Yeah. And I will say it took us several episodes to hone that phrasing because we didn't say that in the early episodes. But yeah, and honestly, the whole thing about Star Trek. Okay, here's a little behind the scenes for podcasting. I believe, and I think Jeff does too, so don't let me speak for you if this isn't true. If you're going to get into a podcasting space, you need to look around and see what other people are doing and then find a way to talk about that nobody else is doing. That way you're adding to the conversation. And when you and I looked, first of all, there wasn't that many people there. But second, we didn't just want two dudes watching the show for the first time. So we tried to figure out how do we couch it? How do we use our who we are in real life? Like who we are. And we said, well, what are we? What do we have in common? We're both Star Trek podcasters. Okay, what if we tried to look at this through this lens? And a lot of times podcasts, you're looking at it through a specific lens. And that may not be the only lens you have for life. I could look at it through a sports lens. I could look at it through a different kind of lens. I could look at it through a technical lens. You could look at it through a production lens. Like we just chose the Star Trek lens. And by Star Trek, what we mean is the morals, messages, meanings, as our friends Norman and John Champion say over there at Mission Log. So only we try not to say morals, message, and meaning because
but it's kind of that. Also a little more like behind the curtain on the podcast thing. We wanted to do the whole not a Star Trek podcast for that sweet SEO
That is true.
So when people like
Yes.
Babylon 5 or Star Trek, we show up in those results.
In both. Yes. That is a very sneaky way to catch some of the SEO, as you say, the search engine optimization, to do that. Hey, Neo wants to know roughly how many emails do we get a week?
You know, on average, I'd say emails, I don't know, what do you say, 15, 20, something like
I
that?
would say it's probably 2 or 3 a day.
That sounds
Is
about
that
right.
about
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like
with some
average?
spikes, with some
Average?
spikes
Yeah,
in there.
yeah.
But literally every day of the week, I'm getting them on the week. We're getting them on the weekends and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's another great question in here too, that I don't know that I can answer
Okay.
yet.
At the end of season 1, you said you weren't sure what Babylon 5 was as a show. Has that changed? No, I don't understand exactly what they're doing or where they're going. And I think it's because what we know is JMS is written, like, he went into episode 1 knowing what the final episode was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And he set this up as this big narrative story arc that people talk about all the time. And we realize that here in season 2, we're in the rising action side of it. So we know that we, like, Jeff, hey, newsflash. Do you know that this is a serialized show?
I do.
Do you know that this just isn't episode week by week? Are you sure that you understand that? Because
well, according
apparently
to some people,
I don't, and I
no,
just want to make sure somebody in this show does. Like, but I don't have an idea of where they're going yet with it.
Yeah.
Obviously the shadows thing is heating up, but how's that going to relate to the Psy-Core thing, which is a deal? How's that going to relate to the
there's
Mars?
so much subversive stuff. Like,
yeah,
I think it was in the Coming of Shadows that I'll tell you, I don't know if I talked about it or not, but some of my expectations were shattered a little bit because I feel like we have this idea of what the shadows are, and I feel like some of those were confirmed in this one. But they're like, hey, it's the Coming of Shadows. Here's this thing. And no, actually, it's just basically, it's this huge genocidal war that's going on. So, hey, shadows, more than one kind of shadow.
I keep waiting for this Narn Centauri thing war to wrap up. I can't imagine this thing's going to take very long, because we've got to get Londo back. I'm still holding out hope for Londo that we've got to get him back as we go forward. So, yeah, I don't know. Club Pro wants to say, if we aren't successful in killing off the reboot, which, Jeff, I mean, how could we not be successful during what we put out, right? Are we going to do reviews of the reboot when it comes out? If I may answer that question, we'll cross that bridge when it comes to it.
Yeah, and let me just add context. We know there are 4 more movies to watch.
Is The Gathering a movie?
I think so.
We know there's 5 total. So we know there's 4 more movies. There's the Last Crusade or something like that.
I don't know. I don't know. There's some Crusade thing, but
yeah,
we haven't even figured out what we're doing with the movies yet. So
yeah, and then there's Babylon 5 for the second time. You and I have talked about doing a Stargate podcast.
Doing the Stargate thing also.
And I think that's happening. So, and we may do some other shows. What order all of that happens in, we don't know. I think we'll. Here's what I foresee us doing, Jeff. And again, this is complete subject to change. This is just where Brent's head at is right now. Jeff has no idea what I'm about to say. We'll get through season 5. We'll do the movies. I know some of those movies can be slotted in the show somewhere, so maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll talk to John. But we'll do season 5. We'll do the movies. I don't know if we'll do the extra episode, like the seasons that they created afterwards. We may or may not. I don't know.
I don't even know if we can get those. I don't know if they're like,
I don't know. Yeah. And then my thought is somewhere we're going to find some space in our lives and we're going to start the Stargate podcast. And that might run a little simultaneous. Maybe we'll tack that in right after. We're going to have to go fast through Stargate though, because there's a lot of those episodes.
Yeah, that freaks me out when you talk about that.
Yeah, but we'll go fast. We'll make it go fast, and we'll do it. Because one of the things we said about Babylon 5 is 110 episodes. Yeah, it's not that many. Like, you can do that in a chunk of time. And then Babylon 5 for the second time will come out real fast too, I think.
There's a question earlier in there about how podcasting through this Babylon 5 has changed how we've watched the show as opposed to just watching it, which I think speaks to that Stargate conversation. How specifically, because you've watched it before. I've never even seen parts of episodes of it before. And so, like, when this whole podcast started, the idea for it was I'm one of those people who likes background noise when I work. So I'll have a TV show in the background. The Office is a very comfort show for me to just kind of have playing in the background. And I was on HBO Max. I'm like, oh, there's Babylon 5. I never watched it. I'll have that as background. And I tweeted that and it blew up. And here we are today. Had I not done that, it would have just been a show in the background that I kind of watched and maybe got hooked into at some point. But I think that what this did for me is it just set that mindset of we're analyzing this show. Like we are going to look at it. We're going to pull out, the messages that we can. We're going to look for the stuff that's in it. I think it's a unique way of watching it, especially with not having a guide. So many of these podcasts is a guide pulling people through, and we don't have that. And I love it.
Sorry, I got distracted by something that somebody sent me. What were you just saying? I'm sorry. This is real life, guys. Right. Welcome to Podcasting with Brent. What did you just say?
How are you watching this show differently because we're podcasting it?
Thank you. I think one, I'm paying way more attention to. I know people say Brent doesn't pay attention to it. I'm paying way more attention to it than I ever would going through. But I'm also, I don't watch the show 3, 4, 5, 6 times before each episode. Jeff does that. I don't.
Usually 2. I watch it 2.
You do 2. I usually do the reaction video, and then like I might watch it a second time, like while I'm in bed falling asleep at night. Like I'll throw it on or something, like just to kind of get a refresher. That's really and my notes come from doing the first watch, where I personally find value in what I think is really, it's in the searching for the messages and trying to go, okay, what was the writer trying to say through this episode, if anything? Writer might not have been trying to say anything. Nia says it in here. Oh no, sorry, not Nia. Somebody else said earlier that not all Star Trek episodes. Oh, here it is. Saber Strike. Not all Star Trek episodes have a strong Star Trek message. That's absolutely true. 100%. A lot of Star Trek episodes are just, it's a fun episode. Was the writer trying to say anything? And there are times when Babylon 5 is very, here's something we're trying to tell you. And Babylon 5 oftentimes is doing it in a way that only Babylon 5 can do, not in a way that Star Trek could do, or Battlestar Galactica, or Stargate, or, they're their own thing. And I really appreciate that, because I think if you just binge the whole show and you don't stop and think about that, that's where you really miss things, so yeah, it's causing me to pay way more attention and connect the dots. Having you, Jeff, because you catch the minute details. I tend to fly a little higher. And when you say those details, it helps connect things in my brain, which I think is why I can predict things. I say that as if I'm like, I know I play it up, but like a lot of times it's just what seems like is the natural place for where they're supposed to go. So,
right.
How confident here, Missy asks us, how confident are you to predict what will come?
I answered that in the comments. And as I say, it ranges from supremely confident to zero confidence.
Right. Adam asked this is a great question. Big fan. Hello, Adam. He says, how do you feel about the idea that Babylon 5 often portrays authentic humanity as opposed to the idealized versions of sci-fi?
Battlestar Galactica, the reboot of Battlestar Galactica, is one of my all-time favorite sci-fi shows for this exact reason. I think it's one of the things that really attracts me to Babylon 5. I talk a lot about Star Trek. I have a whole podcast around it. And if you want to talk about Star Trek episodes that don't have a good Star Trek message and are terrible, go watch And the Children Shall Lead. I just queued that up. That's coming out on Tuesday on my other podcast, and yikes. That was rough. But I like this because I think people have a hard time looking at this idealized world of Star Trek and being like, well, how can that ever happen? How can I do that? And then they just are like, well, I can't, so I'm out.
Mhm.
You see something like Babylon 5, Battlestar Galactica, and if you're able to pull out kind of the humanity,
Mhm.
a very, speciesist word to use, but if you're able to pull that out, then it's more meaningful. It's easier to connect to it. I think it's a powerful way to tell the story.
Yeah, I appreciate both sides of the coin. I appreciate the uh hey, here's where you can get to. Here's the goal. This is, and I not to say that Star Trek is the goal, okay? But that idea of we've moved past monetary needs and um propping ourselves up. We have respect for life, like those ideals. Okay, that frankly, from what I understand, Roddenberry himself may not have fully embodied a lot of those,
Yeah.
and that's okay. But also that idea that you can hold up a mirror to society and be like, "Hey, here's where you're sucking right now," in a way that only sci-fi can do. I think Firefly did this really well.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Um, Battlestar Galactica actually, I think, did it really, really well. Also, um, I appreciate the goal of where we're going. I also appreciate here's us getting there. We're not there yet, but here's how we get there. Here's the route on it. I really like both. So I'm great with it. I love both. I think both have a lot of value in it. So yeah.
So, Brent, we are approaching an hour on
Yeah.
this, and I have a takeaway out of all of this.
Okay.
We need to do this again.
You think so?
I do. This has been a blast. And there are still
Okay.
a lot of unanswered questions in here and some cool
Yeah.
conversations to have. Yeah, we need to, this live needs to be a place we come from time to time.
Hey, there you go. Well, I don't know. We're gonna have to talk to the wives about that because we figure out how to fit that into the schedule.
Well, I'll tell you, us doing this in an hour was part of the deal.
It was. It was. Hey, by the way, Paul here says, I'll stick with you for Stargate, but we're going to have to move much faster, which is yes, Paul. Probably 2 episodes at a clip is what I'm thinking right now. So
I have no opinion at this point other than there's a lot of episodes. Somebody
Sure.
asked me, I release every other week on my Star Trek podcast, and somebody
Uh-huh.
asked me, "Hey, what are you going to do after Star Trek?" And I was like, "Hey, at my current rate of release, that'll happen in 18 years. So
Right.
hopefully I won't be hooked up to life support by the
Right.
time I'm done." So,
And they're making new Star Trek, so that's going to Jeff, I got a question for you. Are you ever going to expand Starfleet Leadership Academy outside of Star Trek?
I have actually. So on my Patreon for the Starfleet Leadership Academy, a totally separate one, I've done the Orville. I'm doing one for the Office. I've done the IT crowd or the IT crowd, depending on how you say it. So yeah, I do other fun things using the same formula and format.
Here's a thing, Jeff. I think you typed this into the chat, but I'll throw it up here anyway. One of the other things we've been talking about doing is doing a playthrough of Mass Effect. Like so you guys are watching us do the show and you're watching the live reactions. We're talking about doing possibly a live streaming playthrough of the show, which apparently is just like Babylon 5. Like it's completely ripped everything from Babylon 5, which I have no idea. I would love to go through that. And
I lost my mind on that Zaha Doom scene when it showed the shadow. Because if you, my Mass Effect people out there, am I wrong? Like that's Harbinger. I lost my, like the first time that was my biggest take. I mean, they told us big things, but I'm like, Harbinger's a shadow.
So okay, Jeff. Well, with that, we're quickly approaching our hour time limit, so we should wrap this up. Jeff, do you have any final thoughts and comments for the live stream folk out there before we shut this thing down?
Thank you. Look, we're still figuring out Babylon 5. We aren't even, we're maybe over a quarter of the way there or something like that. I mean, we're at the cusp of everything. And I love this show. I love you who are here. I love our community. Right. And I think that, today I learned a lot today that some of it I'm still processing, but part of it is that, there's boundaries. We at a minimum teased those boundaries today with our relationship with the community. I want to acknowledge that and own that, but also know that our intentions were pure. They were great. It was, I love this show and I'm super glad to be here and have the opportunity to be with all of you.
Yeah, I will echo everything you said. Jeff, people can say we hate on Babylon 5. We're just here to hate the show. We love the show. I love the show. Folks out there, listen to me. I'm doing a reaction. I may not like a particular episode or a particular scene, but I love this show. And I'm not even, halfway through it yet. So yeah. And I love you guys. The most incredible part of this entire show has been you, the community. And we'll do our best to get the trolls out of here, but or to turn the trolls into fans.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome too.
Show them the
Jeff,
way.
There you go. Jeff, we do have to get out of here. We promised our wives an hour, and now we're over 30 seconds. Don't tell them. You know what? 30 seconds counts for the countdown at the beginning.
Oh,
so
yeah.
With that, you guys rock. Please, if you know anybody who unsubscribed, tell them to resubscribe because we're coming out. And by the way, patrons, if you're a patron, the actual Brent watches video is going live at midnight tonight on the Patreon feed, and I will get that edited and put up on YouTube for you guys just as soon as I possibly can. But for then, that's Jeff. Nope, there he is. That's Jeff. I'm Brent, and we'll see you guys on Monday when we do our big show on In the Shadow of Zahadum. Bye, guys.
See you.